What's up? I'm Chris. I'm your resident wheel engineer.
Ryan, race support director.
Tell you a little bit about beadlocks today and what they do, why you need them, why you don't, how they can help you out there. So we'll get right into it.
Yeah. Biggest thing with beadlocks is people think they have to have them. Not necessarily. We have street lock version. Looks like a beadlock. Real beadlock version. But the biggest difference here, obviously price, but durability also. Performance.
Yeah. Beadlock wheels are made for a specific function, and that is to lock your bead down.
Yeah, and that's what you can see right here. Bead actually goes in here, smushes it in. You get a flat, you keep driving on it. This is an example of a beadlock ring.
You get a real ring with the beadlock wheel. This is a detachable, it's not a beauty ring.
Nope.
It's not a color ring. This is a bead locking, gripping ring. This is a two-piece assembly. Series of bolts hold your tire bead right here. They get sandwiched right in. The other bead sits right back here like a normal wheel.
Yep.
This is a single bead lock wheel.
And then so like on a normal or on a street lock version, there is no locking mechanism. It just mounts conventionally, but you get your look.
You get the bolts.
The beauty.
You see the bolts on the street. You get excited. These are real bolts. They're not going through anything. They're not doing any function. They're not holding a ring on like this.
What types of people should get beadlocks?
Well, the first question we like to ask is, what air pressure do you run?
Yep.
What are you trying to do with your vehicle? If you're going single digits with air pressure, 8 PSI, even 10, we would recommend a beadlock.
Yep.
If you're just going weekend warrior style, you're doing 18 pounds of air pressure, you can do that on a stock wheel.
Yeah.
You can do that on a street lock wheel.
Right.
You can have a lot of fun with 18 PSI off-road.
The biggest misconception is everybody thinks just because it has bolts it is a beadlock, and that's completely false.
The aftermarket has gotten slick, and bolts are popular on a lot of wheels now. They've wised up. They're using real bolts, so it looks super cool. You get super credibility.
Right, yeah, because look, I mean, these are both grade 8 bolts, so I can see where people...
Aftermarket has gotten slick, and so has Raceline. So we want to give people that look that you're super cool, you're out there broing it up, but
yeah,
if you're not seriously racing, save yourself the money and have a lot of fun getting yourself some cool street
Yeah, because I mean, this is half the price of that, but also we build this to go on trophy trucks, so...
Yeah.
This is beefed up,
this is heavier. This is a street wheel. As much as it looks like an off-road wheel, we take that as a compliment, but this is a serious performance off-road purpose-built tool.
When you're installing the beadlocks, are there some certain like do's and don'ts?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Biggest thing is people think they come right in with an impact and just start hammering bolts on. What I like to do is I'll just finger tight everything first and then come in with the impact and just gently back and forth. Just one
crisscross.
hit. Yeah, crisscross. Yeah. Until it's snug, and then then you can start hammering down on it and kind of getting your torques down. We only recommend for the truck stuff 16 to 18 foot-pounds, so it's not very much pressure.
You have a lot of bolts, so a lot of the bolts are doing the work, and it's important to also realize that when you're squeezing your tire down in this bead gap area, you want to have a good amount of crush factor, and we know a lot of different tire manufacturers have different bead thicknesses. For people that really like to nerd out on their tires, the bead thickness changed drastically because tires are made by hand, or the beads are laid by hand. So it's important to remember that.
What happens is this gap right here, some tires it's perfect. So you bolt it on, clamp it on, no issues. But some tires are way too thick, so people will start cranking it on, the bead will the lock will start bowing in. And then that's when you start having issues. So we make spacers and stuff to adjust for it. But people think it's just bolted on and go. No, you got to check them. You got to re-torque.
A lot of maintenance is involved. It's important to remember maintenance is a big part of any racing product. Like your shocks, like your engine, like anything else.
Well, yeah, and that's why at Beadlock, we don't recommend it for street use. First of all, it's not legal. And second of all, there's way more maintenance with this.
Do you want to worry about 160 bolts every time you hop in your car? No, you just want to go out and cruise. You don't want that maintenance. You just want to hop in and go. So we really like to talk people through why they're getting a beadlock, why it's so important, what the kind of driving they're into. We're enthusiasts ourselves, so we understand everyone wants the baddest, coolest, most expensive wheel, but what it really comes down to is the specifics of your driving and what you're trying to get out of the vehicle.
Right. But we have both of them, so that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, we like to offer both and keep everyone happy.
How often, Mike, would you recommend checking your beadlocks?
It's more of a case-by-case issue. I mean,
after every run,
yeah, every run. I do this for a living, so I know I can kind of look at it and be like, all right, it's probably time to do it. A bolt only can hold so much, so it starts flexing and moving and stuff like that. So the biggest issue is people think they need a retorque. Well, no, maybe the bolt's fatigued or something, so you just kind of got to replace it. But if you torque it down right the first time, retorquing, I mean, it's a once or twice thing and you're probably done. But just check it. It's all visual. Like, you'll look at it and be like, all right, it's getting loose, or like the washer on the backside starts coming loose. The nice part with our wheel is we don't do we don't tap it. We do what's called a PEM nut.
So, threaded insert.
Yeah, it's a threaded insert. So what happens is if somebody blows a bolt off or rips it off, whatever, you can just pop this insert out with the tire still mounted, suck a new one in there, and right back on the trail.
Yeah.
So
you're not blowing out threaded holes, especially out in the field.
Yeah,
on the trails, it's the worst. So you don't want to re-tap a hole on a wheel and take 40 bolts off. So you just, we love these inserts right here. They keep people moving out.
Yeah, it's kind of our claim to fame with our wheel. We're one of really the only ones that does that. So kind of offers more of, the Jeep guys love it because they're bashing into rocks and cutting the heads off. So they can pop one off and put a new one in right there on the trail, be back going. So
If you start noticing just bolts, coming off,
yeah,
what would you recommend first thing to check?
first thing to check is just, is it mounted correctly to begin with? And then usually when you start breaking bolts, like just randomly, it's because your bead's too thick, the ring's starting to bow in, and you're getting pressure only on one side of the bolt. So what happens is this inner dimension, it'll start pulling in, and the bolt will sit like cockeyed.
You get like a concave bowl effect to the ring. And
so yeah, what's happening is the bead's pushing on this, and it's pushing the bolt only on one side, and then people start blowing bolts off, and they're like, oh, I didn't torque it. It's like, no, you just didn't mount it correctly. So,
or you didn't put the spacer in there like we recommended. But we really like to help people with their tire selection and really get them dialed in on what's best for them, and recommend
it's not just a plug and play thing. It's you kind of got to go case by case. What tire are you using? What are you using it on? We offer an aluminum ring. We have a steel ring. So there's so many variables to it. Yeah. That's where a street wheel comes in. Just bolt it on and go. So that's how you can see the difference. Why that's a beadlock and we use it for racing, and why this is a street lock and it just gets bolted on the truck and lift kit and tires and boom, out the door.
Whatever you want to do.
Why would these be illegal?
It's all because of the bolts.
Because of the bolts?
Yeah, DOT, they just can't stand it. Essentially what's happening is, you air this up, the bead's pushing out on that bolt constantly. So, you blow all the bolts off that.
This
ring
being a
comes off.
mechanical connection to the wheel isn't exactly DOT spec.
Right.
DOT likes a physical barrier, all part of one piece of the wheel, just to keep the tire bead at in a conventional wheel, the tire bead would sit here and here. DOT loves that. Right. That is fine. That is safe.
Because those lips are never going to move.
These won't move, but because you added another mechanical element to the wheel that was never intended with an OE wheel ever in existence.
Well, like the Ford Raptor, for instance, they come stock with beadlocks and they're mounted conventionally. So if you want to use
a little bit of insider
beadlock,
info for you right there, yeah. People are like, oh, the new Ford Raptor. I got beadlocks, I'm ready to rip. No, they put that tire here from factory.
But you could move it out.
Move it out to a beadlock.
That's cool.
Taking that chance, you pop it out here. So if you look really closely at a Ford Raptor with beadlocks, you'll see there's a nice gap right there. No, that guy hasn't flopped him over yet.
Right.
So it comes from the factory legal.
Right.
Mounted here.
And you can make it illegal.
Yeah. When it comes to a traditional wheel profile, here to here is where a normal tire sits.
Well, you guys have definitely convinced me to get beadlocks on my van.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You go big, right?
Every Astro van needs beadlocks.
Yeah.
It's the real deal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So.
Well, cool. What's that machine behind you guys?
Oh, this is
our Haas mill, CNC 3-axis mill. This is where we cut all of our centers, all of our forged aluminum centers, and some of our truck wheels. This machine is brand new to us, probably about a year ago, and we've been wanting to step it up in the machine shop for quite some time. So we bought an SS model, much like your Chevelles and your Camaros. This is the SS. This is the super speed. So we're able to cut at 15,000 RPM. 1,100 inches per minute, and just crank stuff out and really let the chips fly. And it can just crunch through numbers and data like no other. And we bought high-end holders and bits, and we're ready to just shred through stuff here. And we liked it so much, we got another one. So we're ready to do double the work in half the time and just get people their wheels faster, cut down on lead times. And we've been super stoked with this machine, and it's just been a great addition to the shop here.
Well, here's a blank single piece forging.
That's a huge rim. That's a big rim.
Yeah.
What is that, 13 inch?
Yeah. Probably like a
It's
22.
a 22 by 14.
14.
Yeah.
What
So
does that go on?
we cut all kinds of stuff
The
here.
play trucks. No.
And we can cut up to a 24-inch diameter wheel here. We have a lot of fun with these machines, programming it, pushing them a little bit further and further every time, and really looking at tool paths and the geometry.
But you can see how
It's an
much,
art,
how
yeah.
much material comes off that.
That's so much lighter than I thought it was going to be.
So- and then these are the centers for like the two-piece stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys
Before and
start,
after
you,
here.
you start with the blanks,
Yeah, with this.
and then you shred them in there.
Shred them. Yeah. Less than 30 minutes in some cases. Less than 30 minutes. We just knock
And
out.
they even
wheels.
come rawer than that, right?
Yeah, we have a lathe department too,
Rawr.
which you'll see. This starts as probably like a 60-pound gray, ugly blob that
Yeah,
we.
they don't look that cool.
Yeah, we turn this down. Believe me, it starts as a big, nasty, forged, all-American
Oh yes.
hunk of metal that we turn down to get the profile we need, get the brake clearances we need. So this is not how they come. Believe me, it's quite the process. And people are always asking, why are forged wheels so expensive? Why are, you just press a button, they pop out, right? No, well, these take expensive machines, talented people, and a lot of time and care to.
Did you just call yourself talented?
Sometimes. It depends on the day. Depends on if I've had my coffee or not. But
We'll say it for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'll
you
throw that out there.
you program the machine, and it takes about 30 minutes for
30 minutes depending on the design. We have some crazier designs that take probably an hour and a half just because a lot of surfacing, a lot
Yeah.
of fancy fluting and stuff like that. But for a wheel like this that we like to call our flagship wheel, just crank this out. This is just 5 windows, a little bit of edging work. This could be done in 30 minutes.
I appreciate you guys. We got some
having you guys.
we got some fun stuff coming up. I know Nelson, he got hooked up with
Oh
some,
yeah. The
some
Jeep. The
beadlocks.
Jeep is dialed.
Yeah. So
Scumbug's dialed. The Can-Am.
yep.
Let's keep doing more projects.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what
We
I'm
got the
here for.
machines. We're
Well,
ready
thank
to
you
go.
guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.